Okay, hello everyone. We are live, it looks like. That is good to see. Going to be doing a live stream here, just covering some news, stuff like that. And we will get into it because I'm basically only talking at this moment to anyone who is rewatching the stream. So hello if you're rewatching the stream, but we're just going to kind of cover some Canadian news, go through some stories, see some of the reaction to Trump's comments in Davos, because a lot of the liberal media was freaking out about that just a couple of days ago.
Stream the whole party. So for those of you who are out in Nova Scotia, Australia, Europe, any part of the country where you cannot actually attend this party in Calgary, I will be live streaming it for the people.
Shout out the pleb. So the first story I guess we're kind of covering is just this influencer event, which looks quite cool. I would love to go to it in Calgary. I mean, if I still lived there, I would go, but that looks like a fun event.
IRL live stream on this channel. I'm going to stream the whole party. So for those of you who are out in Nova Scotia, Australia, Europe, any part of the country where you cannot actually attend this party in Calgary, I will be live streaming it for the people. So yes, folks, a free party open to the public, given back to the people to meet their favorite creators. We don't get to do this often, and I promise you, next Saturday, this party is going to blow your mind. Okay, enough with the party. Let's actually get into what's happening in the National Geographic documentary. For Canadian moment, I remember that sound from when I was a kid. The El Bozo, Liberalis Fanaticus.
The El Bozo, or Liberalis Fanaticus, is a hardy, long-lived species commonly found in the settled region.
Liberalis Fanaticus. Even you came up with a scientific name for this here.
Hardy, long-lived species commonly found in the settled regions of eastern Canada, though sightings persist even in the west. This boomer subspecies has adapted remarkably well to stable habitats, paid-off mortgages, cushy pensions, and reliable access to Canadian Liberal Party talking points brought to them by the CBC. Notice the distinctive behavior, the rhythmic flopping of elbows up and down in unison, often performed in groups during moments of high agitation. The signature call rings out clear and insistent, elbows up, a rallying cry that echoes across lawns, community halls, and comment sections alike.
Comment sections.
El Bozos display an extraordinary focus.
I love how they have the narrator using my word El Bozos. Like it's an official term.
Community halls, and comment sections alike. El Bozos display an extraordinary focus on external threats, particularly the distant figure of Donald Trump, whom they perceive as a greater threat than any domestic challenge. Its attention to the affordability struggles of younger Canadians remains limited. Having long secured its own nesting site and food cache, the El Bozo prioritizes the preservation of established comforts.
That's true.
It derives much of its worldview from a single, trusted source, the CBC, consuming daily broadcasts with the same steady dedication the beaver shows to its dam. Every
clip confronting Justin Trudeau, but another journalist by Vox Populi Media was able to confront Trudeau in the streets of Davos, and it went a little something like this.
Human rights of those who didn't want to get vaccinated. Yet some people have died as a result of this. Is that really a smirking matter?
Why you push the Canada to vaccinate the
pushing
people?
disinformation the way you have?
What is
It's absolutely
disinformation?
irresponsible.
What, that
Why
people
you
have
push
died?
people in Canada to vaccinate
I'm sorry, but
the COVID vaccine.
that's not misinformation. My old cameraman's
They
mother
want to free
actually,
them and you push them into jail.
my old cameraman's mother actually died after complications from the COVID vaccine. So is that misinformation?
Damn, this other journalist from Germany called out Arthur Pawlowski, him like jailing pastors during COVID. He really was a tyrant, like a terrible, terrible tyrant. And the sickest part is that there's like no repercussions. He just gets to live his best life, date Katy Perry. He completely destroyed the country. There's like no consequences. Life is good for Trudeau. It sickens me. And just look at this asshole, or pardon my language, this jerk beside him just laughing, you know, these WEF lizards.
Oh, now you're laughing.
Yeah. Oh my
Mr.
God.
Trudeau, could I ask you a few questions, please?
No, sorry.
Oh, come on. It's the spirit of dialogue is the theme of the WEF this year.
Is it?
Well, given that we now know that the lockdown measures in Canada were wrong, do you want to take the opportunity to at least admit that and say sorry to those who were affected? Come on, just it's okay to get things wrong as long as, like I said to Tony Blair, it's okay to get things wrong as long as you admit as such when you get the opportunity. Like, do you not want to take that opportunity? Because not speaking kind of speaks volumes. Or I could maybe frame it. Ignore my
Deliberate
question.
choice to not talk to you.
Deliberate
How's
choice. Why not? Why don't you want to talk to a free press?
He's so fake. He's such a fake POS. Look at that fake smile as the person passes
Why don't
him
you
here.
want to talk to a free
Look
press?
at that. Look at that. It's like, oh my God.
Okay, how about ignore this question if your lockdown measures were authoritarian and wrong? No, nothing?
Mr. Trudeau, why are you pushing LGBTQ so hard? You don't believe in traditional values?
Fundamental human rights.
And
He can
traditional
answer the
values?
questions about LGBT though, right?
Creation of
I also want to bring you a comment that he made. We have been waiting about whether he would respond to Mark Carney's provocative speech yesterday at the Davos Forum. And here's what the president said about Canada.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
So that from the president about Canada and Mark Carney's speech yesterday. I want to bring in Mike Crawley, our correspondent in Washington. Well, there you have it. He was watching Mark Carney, and that's what he said. What was behind that?
Certainly sounds like a veiled threat there, Susan, doesn't it?
Are you kidding me? That sounds like a threat. Mark Carney's entire speech was about Trump. Man, the CBC is actually awful.
Well, there you have it. He was watching Mark Carney, and that's what he said.
The thing that pisses me off the most about the CBC is they never represent the other side. They only represent one position.
What was behind that?
Certainly sounds like a veiled threat there, Susan, doesn't it? Better watch himself next time he speaks. Look, I think it's interesting that Carney's speech has been, was brought to Trump's attention. As obviously, Canada isn't necessarily the biggest thing on his mind at the moment, but you called it a provocative speech from Carney. I guess it definitely provoked Trump. I think what people are going to be wanting to know now is whether that position that Carney is taking, the sort of really calling out Trump's tactics, is seen as a sign of strength. That's what a lot of folks are saying. It's time to stand up to what Trump is doing rather than flattering him like a lot of world leaders have been doing. So. There's that watch yourself threat hanging over this, but I didn't hear anything very specific about what Trump is wanting to do. I actually really think like obviously that's the biggest thing in the speech for
This guy hasn't said anything yet.
a Canadian audience, but the more profound stuff is on NATO, really. The way he tied his ambitions for Greenland to his grievances over NATO, really minimizing the significance of the ask for Greenland, calling it, a piece of ice, while at the same time talking about how important it is. It's right in the middle of, in his words, between US and Russia and China. And then,
Dude, this guy's not making a point.
slamming NATO, saying, we've done so much for NATO, never got anything from NATO, ignoring all of the contributions of NATO nations. I think those are the real implications that world leaders are going to be concerned about.
Mike, I'm going to go to Catherine Cullen in just a moment, but on that point, one thing he said really stood out to me. After he said, we want negotiations, we want use force with Greenland, he said, we want a piece of that, a tiny piece of ice, that cold place, poorly located for world international protection. That's why we want it. And then he said, they have a choice. They can say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or they can say no, and we will remember. Sounds like a veiled threat as well.
Man, what about Carney's speech? Carney's entire speech was bashing Trump.
Yeah, I actually that was a quote that I pulled up as a veiled threat. So we will remember. It's very ominous, isn't it?
Ominous. Carney's speech was 1,000 times darker. Trump's speech in Davos, I think most people would say, given what people were expecting in mainstream media, people like this, it was pretty chill, I think.
He's kind of gotten at this a little bit over the past number of weeks. There was, I think the wording was, you can do it the easy way or can do it the hard way, right? This is Donald Trump, the deal maker, leverage. It's just ramped up, and the way that it is linked to his feelings about NATO.
Man, this guy maybe just having a bad day, but he can't really talk. Sounds like he needs to sleep.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also.
I agree with this. That's hard to argue.
But they're not.
Donald Trump just gave a more than 1 hour speech to world leaders in Davos, Switzerland. It's usually an economic forum, but now more like a battlefield.
I watched your
More like a
Prime Minister,
battlefield. Man, the CBC is incredible.
yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us.
In that roughly hour and 15-minute speech, about 20 seconds were devoted to Canada specifically. I've already played you about 12 of those seconds. Here are the remaining 8.
Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
I'm going to explain what the President of the United States was reacting to and on what level this sours an already strained relationship.
There is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety.
Yeah, like during COVID. The speech should have been during COVID.
Well, it won't. So what are our options?
The day before Trump spoke, it was Mark Carney's turn to address the room. His speech was, in effect, to frame the US-led world order as irreversibly ruptured. And he made this point with a story.
Every morning, this shopkeeper places a sign in his window. Workers of the world unite. He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along.
This is a
That's what we all did during COVID. This stupid shopkeeper analogy.
parable from an essay written by Václav Havel almost 50 years ago, answering how communism sustains itself. The analogy here, of course, being with how the world placates Donald Trump.
And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false. Friends,
Yeah. So Carney's entire speech was bashing Trump. Trump mentioned Canada, I guess, according to this guy, for 20 seconds.
it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down.
Now, this is a clever bit of politics in the sense that, like many grand speeches touching on prickly subjects, it's both direct and vague at the same time. And maybe this wouldn't have been so provocative if not for two things. First, that Carney's entire speech was about this, about a strategic pivot away from America. But the second thing, he named America explicitly.
This fiction was
So how is Canada supposed to now negotiate with America? You attempted to basically humiliate them in front of the entire world on probably the biggest stage you could find. Now what?
useful. And American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. This bargain no longer works.
What we have to do is what he called
So dumb, man. To me, that was by far the biggest mistake of Carney's leadership run so far.
sort of a principled pragmatism, being realistic, very hard-nosed about where we have interests and arranging our relations, our foreign relations on that basis. It's fascinating to me and very revealing that the Prime Minister is spelling this out as a statement of Canadian foreign policy.
Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination.
Donald Trump, of course, was listening to all of this.
After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now?
This word, ungrateful, seems to keep resurfacing with Trump and his administration. In Davos, he devoted a big part of his speech to ripping into Denmark for not wanting to sell Greenland to the United States. But two things about this.
We begin with breaking news. Donald Trump says he and the head of NATO have agreed to the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland. The U.S. president also says he will no longer impose tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. Trump spoke to reporters a short while ago. Let's take a listen.
It's a great security, great national and international security. It's a deal that people jumped at. Really fantastic for the USA. Gets everything we wanted, including especially real national security and international security.
How so? Can you give us some details, please?
Well, the deal is going to be put out pretty soon, and we'll see. It's right now a little bit in progress, but pretty far along. It gets us everything we needed to get.
How will you ratify it, Mr. President?
Say it?
What did Mark Rutte say?
Well, he's a great leader. I think he's fantastic. The Secretary General was representing the other side, which is really us too, because, you know, we're a very important member of NATO. I've done a lot for NATO. And it's really nice. I mean, it's a deal that everybody's very happy with.
Does it still include you? Does it still include the United States having ownership of Greenland like you've said you wanted?
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. And I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
How long is it, Mr. President?
Spoken to other European leaders?
What?
Have you already spoken to other European leaders?
Yes, I have.
How long would the deal be, Mr. President?
Infinite.
Will there speak to Denmark? Did you speak to Denmark?
There is no time limit. It's forever.
And how would you ratify the deal?
There'll be money involved. It's signed forever.
But you haven't signed anything yet, right?
It's a deal that's forever.
Will there be an effect anyway, Mr. President? Will there be an effect?
People, what happens is people are out there and they're working it right now. They're working the details of the deal, but it's what's called an infinite deal. It's forever.
You talked about being concerned, Mr. President, about Russia trying to come and take over Greenland. If you're worried that Putin would do something like that, why invite him to join your board of peace?
Because we want everybody. We want all nations. We want all nations where people have control, people have power.